Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Unstoppable Pursuit podcast, where we are pushing the limits on business, life, and health. And today, we're talking about attitude. I'm Brian Benson, and next to me is my dart-slinging, former basketball playing, Berg dude, weightlifting, handsome mother trucker, Michael Stahl. As always, beautiful to have you here, sir.
It's great to be here.
Wearing the Browns helmet, which we did not win last night, and it's in for a long season. So we're going to start out like we always do with Mike's book, Dominate Your Day. You can check it out at michaelstahl.com. And recently, he also came out with a Dominate Your Diet ebook from all his most successful diets he's put together for his clients. So you're going to want to email him and check that out too. It's really great stuff. So
All
call him up.
And I quote from Dominate Your Day, each day brings a new chapter. You can do with it whatever you want. If you want to be happy, be happy. If you want to be sad, be sad. But just know you are in control of that and what your attitude is for the day. It has nothing to do with anybody else, but has everything to do with what's in your mind. When you can control and dictate your mood and attitude, you gain control of your life.
Wow, that's so true, man. I love it. I love it. Getting the legs shaking this morning. Crazy legs, Mike.
Shaking leg.
That's right, brother, man. So attitude is so important, and I want to go through the role of the attitude in the business life and health. And really, attitude is kind of what you put out there. Is what you're going to attract. The way that your aura, the way that you put yourself out there, is just going to attract what you want. And if you're negative, if you're positive, whatever you have out there is what people are going to kind of relate to and feel. So let's talk about some of those things, Mike, that role of attitude.
Well, I always use the analogy that your attitude is the most precious piece of real estate that you will ever own, so own it. I mean, you are in your body, your one and only body, and you have to have an attitude every single day. It's like you can't just go without an attitude. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have an attitude. So you have to make a decision in the morning of what's my attitude going to be. So you have to own it. You have to wake up and make a conscious decision. Yeah, no, I'm going to be sad, or I'm going to be happy, or I'm going to be focused, or I'm going to be relentless. Like, I don't care whatever it is. Actually, I do care what it is. I want you to have a positive attitude, but you need to decide to own that. But I think that it plays a major role, because I think there's a trickling effect of your attitude through business, through personal, through your health. Like, if you have a bad attitude about your health, more than likely you're probably not going to physically feel good.
Right.
If you have a shitty attitude going into the office, well, you're probably not going to do well in business. I mean, I think that's a pretty simple concept.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on that, and I wrote this before we got in this morning, but I just thought about this, is don't bring your personal life attitude to the office. Don't bring your office attitude home. Your spouse will not appreciate it, I'm sure. If you have a bad day at the office, let's just put it that way. Don't bring that stuff to other places. Put your attitude to the situation that you're going to be in. If you're waking up in the morning and the first thing you do is go to work, or maybe it's work out, like, get the attitude that you're going to have a productive, positive, really great day, and I think it'll start reflecting. But Mike's right. I mean, it's 100% a choice. So I think we want to, so how do you maintain that, Mike, when maybe it's like you wake up and you're like, oh yeah, like, I'm super pumped, like, ready to go, and then the first thing you do is go in the office, and then your boss is like, oh, you need to turn in those TPS reports. You know what I'm saying?
TPS. That's hilarious. Personally, for me, I do use a lot of different strategies, but I think that the most effective one for me is, because it happens, where I wake up in the morning, I tell myself, you know what, today's a great day, I'm going to feel good about myself, I'm going to be focused, but let's say something happens, and I get pissed off. Like, normally, it's someone would be real quick to react to that, but now I am able to say in my head, and sometimes I even say it out loud, you know what, this isn't ideal, but I'm not going to let it change the way I feel or the way I behave. Like, it's like a switch. Like, I am consciously deciding that, nope, I am going to flip that switch up, which means I'm not going to let whatever's happening, my external circumstances, affect me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I say it out loud, like, no, I'm not going to let this affect me.
Yeah.
Period. you know?
I agree, dude. And I think that having that self-awareness is so important. So as soon as that triggering effect comes in, you need to do what you do. Either like, say it out loud, or, I practice meditation quite often. So sometimes I take like 3 minutes, yeah, and I go into my office and I turn off the lights and I relax, and then I just put a big grin on my face. Like seriously. And I just smile. And all of a sudden, yeah, exactly. But what it does is like it releases those, all that, like all those endorphins and things. Like when you smile and start feeling happier, like that puts a happier feeling on, for me personally. Like it may help you, but just putting that smile on my face for like 3 minutes and just sit there and enjoy it, all of a sudden that just changes my attitude back to where I was from the start.
And it's not a one-size-fits-all. So,
No.
I mean, like, that may work for you, it may not work for someone else. And what I do personally by just saying it out loud and stopping it dead in its tracks may not work for others. But, there's a lot of things that you can do behind the scenes. Like, of course, I'm reading my daily devotionals every single day. I am, like, speaking positively. I'm deep in prayer. Whatever it is, there's a lot of things behind closed doors. But you need to find a way to, in the moment, decide and make a decision that it's not going to change the direction that you want to head in for the day, basically.
Yeah, and another thing sometimes that I do, and it could work for anyone else, but Mike's right, there's a million different ways to get your attitude back together, but like writing down all your feelings that just happened. Your boss yells at you or something and you were having a positive day. It's like don't let that like go any further than those 4 walls where you had that conversation with your boss, because that conversation happened, that is what it is, and you can't control it from there, so you have to move on with a more positive attitude and into a better state of mind. So write down your feelings, crinkle it up, throw it away, you moved on, it's over, and you're back to the races,
Yeah, the words you speak is the person you become, and I think that what consumes your mind on a daily basis and what you think about the most, that is outwardly reflected, and people can kind of get a sense of what your attitude is.
Yeah.
Like people pick up on your vibe, and you can kind of get an idea of what is actually like really consuming that person and what makes up their attitude. So I'm telling you, it's worth investing in on a daily basis. It's something that you need to go back to every single day.
Yeah.
Again, we have on our board repetition, meaning do what you got to do to maintain a positive attitude, and get lots of repetitions on doing it.
Yeah, it's just like anything that Mike and I talk about on the show, is that everything is a work in progress, and keeping a positive attitude, because we realize the smallest thing can change your attitude, but you have to repeatedly have that self-awareness and understand the things that are going to keep you in that good place. And one thing we have up here that we were sort of talking about is like, you have full control, so don't give someone else permission to control your attitude. That person may be dealing with, you never know what other people are dealing with. So let's say somebody explodes at you or gets mad at you or something for doing something that's so tiny, like maybe they're dealing with something else on the side, but don't let that affect you. That's probably not a reflection of the person that you are at all. So don't let that change your attitude or make you feel upset or sad, because what happens is when you feel that way, then you project that, and then I'm sad, Mike, blah, blah, and then Mike starts feeling, yeah, he's going to start crying over here. That's the problem. If you're negative about your work or about your personal life when you come in somewhere, then people are going to be like, God, do I even want to hang out with this person? Because it's just a negative environment. Your attitude is so much of everything. It affects your leadership. It affects the way that you just go about your day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's right up there at the top of the list, and really, like we have down on our board, like you do not give anyone permission to own your attitude. Again, I don't care how shitty someone else's day was, that you're not a victim of your circumstances or the people around you. So the bottom line is you have to make a conscious decision that, you know what, I own my attitude. So it's like I own the car. You're not going to drive the car unless I give you permission to drive the car. Same thing with the attitude. You're not going to affect my attitude unless I give you permission to do so, which I'm not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Great analogy, Mike. That's awesome. So let's dive into the types of attitudes that people can portray and kind of how it affects others, I mean.
Well, we have a whole list of attitudes written down on our whiteboard, but I think, and I can name some of them off, but I think I want to talk about the one that I think most reflects mine. And I'm tooting my own horn here.
Here we go.
I would say the most important type of attitude for me personally, I think, would be to be authentic. And we talked about authenticity in one of our previous podcasts, but I think that, having an authentic attitude, a real attitude, a passionate attitude, and being raw about it, I think that attracts. And I think that people respect that. Like, I don't, fake it till you make it. I don't know. I mean, yes and no, maybe. It depends.
Fake it till you become it. I don't know.
I've picked up on people's fake attitudes before, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather you just be authentic and be in the moment. So for me, it's about having an authentic attitude that's positive. I'm a firm believer that what you put out there, you're going to attract in abundance. I think you already said that, but that's very, very true. I mean, think about the people that are positive, focused, and relentless. Like, you want to be a part of what they're doing.
Yeah, right. And just going back up to that point, Mike, is we actually do have a point on here where we talk about surrounding yourself and putting yourself in that environment with people like Mike or somebody who's positive and authentic too, because that's going to reflect on the way you start acting. And again, it goes back to attracting. If you're negative, misery loves company. A bunch of negative people will start hanging out together.
Very
you
true.
know what I mean?
Very true.
If you're consistently trying to push yourself into places that are positive environments and people, you're going to have a much better reaction. You're going to feel better about yourself. One thing I wanted to talk about was the attitude of gratitude. Something that I think is really, really important, because for me personally, and maybe other people can feel this way, is I understand that no matter what happens in my life, like, I have to be grateful for this. I'm grateful for everything that I have in my life. So when something negative or something not as positive as I want to, like, comes up, I have to realize, okay, like, I still have my wife, like, I still have my friends, I still have a 9 a.m. podcast with Mike Stahl on Saturdays that I can go to, and this is something that just, like, I'm really grateful for. So nothing else is gonna, like, change my mind or make me feel bad, because it's like, wow, like, I'm so grateful for what I have anyway. I don't care what happens,
Yeah, I like that, the attitude of gratitude, because I think you're starting your day. You're either starting your day high or you're starting your day low. Okay, and whichever one you choose is going to have drastically different results. So I'd rather start my day from a high place of strength, rather than a low place where my back's against the wall. So having an attitude of gratitude, you're starting from a place of strength. I mean, I'm sure all of us could list off probably 20 things that we're thankful for, and I encourage you to do that.
Yeah.
I'm driving in my truck all the time, and I'm like, let's say, I feel my attitude drifting off maybe negatively. I start thinking, you know what, I list like 20 things, dude. I'm thankful for my truck. I'm thankful for, this and that. And I just start naming them off, where I'm thinking, you know what, there are a lot of people with a lot less than what I have that are doing much greater things. So I need to cut the bullshit, and I need to fix my attitude.
I 100% agree. I mean, that's probably the best explanation of it. There are people out there, no matter what you're dealing with, trust me, there's somebody who would kill to be in your shoes. I promise you that. So you want to kind of go into the challenge part of this? And have we exhausted the attitude thing, or?
One thing I wanted to kind of touch back on was when you were talking about surrounding yourself with like-minded people. And on our whiteboard, for those that are actually watching the video, you probably see us looking off to the side at our board, but for those that are listening to the podcast, it sounds like we're winging it here. But I think that, we have a whole list of what, good attitudes are, and we have positive, optimistic. We have attitude with a sense of urgency, focus, caring, relentless, authentic, gratitude. I think all those things, literally the 5 people that I spend the most time with, including you and the other 4s, I think that all of them have those types of attitudes combined. So that's why, if I'm having a bad day or something, Brian may text me and be like, what's up, man? I'm ready to crush it today. Let's do it. And I'm like, you know what? And I'm in my head, I might have been struggling a little bit, but I read that and I'm like, you know what? No, let's do this. Let's do the damn thing. Like, I cut that off. So I think that, all those types of attitudes. And one thing I wanted to say about having a positive, optimistic attitude is I always, and I think I might even mention this in the book, is you can't feed a plant poison or pour poison on top of a plant and expect it to grow. Okay, so if you're feeding your mind negative thoughts, like your mind is a breeding ground, either for negative or positive thoughts. So whatever's flowing in there is probably going to flow out in abundance. So again, I don't want to be attracting negativity. I want to be putting out positive vibes so that people are like, you know what? I don't know what the hell he's trying to do or what he's selling, but I want to be a part of it. If you have a positive, caring, authentic attitude, I always tell people you could sell ice to an Eskimo, when they don't need it. But they're going to buy it anyways because they want to be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to, especially the business part of things, Mike, and I'm really glad you brought that up because when you are in an organization or your job is to lead people, and we talked about leadership, but part of leadership is your attitude, that is your influence. That is how you grow people. Like, if you have a positive attitude around your employees and you're helping them grow, and you're going to influence them to want to grow, and it's like you said, you're pouring water on those plants, you're helping them grow and empower them.
Sunshine.
Yeah, exactly. You're helping them become the people that they're meant to be, and that all comes with your positive attitude and giving them an opportunity to feel that they have a chance to grow and they can keep moving forward. But if you're a type of boss that thinks that yelling and pushing down on people is the way that you're going to get an organization to move forward, I would highly suggest you take a look in the mirror and check that attitude.
Yeah. And taking that one step further, I would say, let's say you don't have a bad attitude, you don't have a positive attitude. Let's say you're in the middle where you have like a boring ass attitude.
Yeah.
Like if you're the boss and you're walking into a meeting and no, you're not negative, no, you're not positive, but you're just monotone and like people aren't picking up on any energy and you're just blah. Well, more than likely, you're probably not going to motivate your employees. You're not going to motivate the people around you and get them riled up to believe in what you're trying to pass on to them. So, there's like that midway point where, you're kind of coasting along and you're not really doing much with your attitude. It's just there.
Yeah,
You know what
right.
I mean?
But and either way, your attitude is your attitude. There is an outcome to your attitude, whether you have a negative, positive, or in the middle, something's going to happen. And if it's just boring or dull, chances are it's going to cause this domino effect, and the rest of your organization, people are all going to sit there after that meeting, and it's just going to be like, boom, boom, everybody's just going to fall down, and it's just going to feel like there's no energy, there's no positivity, and people aren't going to, I guess perform to their best.
Right. And we're always good at giving analogies on this podcast.
Yeah.
So I would say, if I were to look at my own skills and talents, and I believe in myself, and I'm very confident. So let's say I'm a vehicle and I'm a Lamborghini. Well, if you put regular gasoline in the Lamborghini, it's not going to perform well. So that's like your attitude. Your attitude needs premium fuel.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to pump yourself full of whatever it is, daily devotional, surrounding yourself with people, like talking out loud, telling you that you're going to have a great attitude, having a mechanism in place for when shit hits the fan, boom, you stop it dead in your tracks, and you're like, you know what, this isn't ideal, but I'm gonna find a way to keep moving forward because again, I own my attitude at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's so true, Mike, and so we urge you all to really create that mechanism or create that attitude plan around what you're doing. So you always are waking up. I think that those daily devotionals are so important, being able to say okay, now every morning I'm going to say this to myself in the mirror or saying something positive about what's going on. Then the next thing is if something hits the fan, I have my thing. I'm going to write down something. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to just get that self-awareness going. And then just moving throughout the day, and then don't bring that attitude home with you, from the office, and don't bring your personal life into the office. It's just, they're two separate things. Do not do that, I'm telling you.
I think if you've been listening to our podcast that, up until this point, I'm glad we kind of did the previous points before this right now, because let's say you have worked on your leadership. Let's say you've cut out and learned how to control fear, and let's say you have the motivation and you've been working on all these things from listening to our podcast, but let's say you're doing really well in all those, but you got a bad attitude,
Oh yeah.
you're done.
No,
you're
are
done. It
It's
doesn't
true.
matter. I don't
It's
care
so
how
true.
motivated you are. I don't care if you're a good leader. If you have a bad attitude, you have now come to a standstill. So I think that it's very appropriate that we're talking about attitude at this stage in the game, because now that you're going to determine what your attitude is, you're either going to stay where you're at or you're
Yeah.
going to be off to the races chasing your dreams.
That's right. That's so true, Mike. I love it. It is. It really affects your business, life, and health. And
Jab, jab, right.
jab, right hook, baby.
I see you, Vaynerchuk. I see you.
What up, Gary V?
Gary V, shout out. G, man.
Oh man, oh man. Well, let's talk about the challenge now and what we can do to. I guess we've kind of talked about a lot of things, but this is just one thing we've kind of talked about. But the challenge for you guys is to take that 5 minutes of me time. So whatever you're doing, wherever is going on in your life, like take me time to recharge, refresh, and refocus. Just the checkup from the neck up attitude, kind of. Hey, what's going on up there? Why am I feeling this way? How can I get back to where I was this morning? Or how can I get better back to a positive attitude? So just sometimes you just have to do that, and it's okay to do that throughout your day, just to do a checkup, self-awareness, and find that place where you're going to get that attitude back. So.
Yeah, I think the attitude in regards to this challenge is I think attitude needs a little bit of privacy. And when I say that, I mean like amongst our busy schedules, like what you said, like for me personally, let's say, I just had lunch. A lot of times I'll go to my truck and wherever I'm at, I'll sit in the parking lot. I got the AC blowing on me, and for like 10 or 15 minutes, I just sit in my truck. Sometimes I close my eyes, and I'm just like thinking positively. I'm just resting.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not thinking about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even good for the attitude, to just recharge your batteries and refresh. And kind of, maybe you needed to hit the reset button so that, your afternoon goes better than your morning. So spend like 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes of time, whether it's meditation or whatever you need to do to top off the attitude tank.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I had somebody Facebook message me earlier this week, and they asked that question, who inspires the inspirer? Sometimes I feel like I'm so positive and pushing myself, but, the attitude, you're not always going to have a positive attitude, but that's when you need to take that time. You need that me time to refresh, refocus, and recharge the old batteries there.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
all right, Mike. Well, what's the health tip so we can be healthier and have a healthy attitude?
Yeah, exactly. I saw how you threw that in there. Well, we live in an age where people are very quick to use antibiotics. I mean, everyone knows what an antibiotic is, but the fact of the matter is that we are overusing antibiotics, and in most cases, your body can develop a resistance to antibiotics. Heavy usage of antibiotics can lead to, a growth of like some yeast in your body. Candida is what it's called. So really what we're finding out is that these antibiotics, it kills all the bacteria in your body, even the good bacteria in your stomach. So now we talk about probiotics, which is healthy bacteria that, you could take it in pill form, and it goes down your intestinal tract, it goes into your stomach, it gets the healthy bacteria flourishing, and it improves the environment of your stomach, specifically your small intestine. But the thing about that is what they're finding out now, and this goes into correlation with the attitude, is they've found through numerous studies that people that have bad bacteria in their stomach and they're not taking probiotics and they've taken a lot of antibiotics and are suffering from depression. A lot of very holistic places, internal medicine doctors are actually using probiotics to get these people away from depression, because they're realizing that this healthy bacteria that should be flourishing in your body is responsible for how you perceive your environment. And 80 to 90% of the serotonins, which are the feel-good hormones that go to the brain, they're made in the stomach, in the small intestine. Yeah.
Jeez.
So it would make sense to try to improve the digestion and the healthy bacteria. Stay away from antibiotics. Do not take an antibiotic unless you absolutely have to. When you're looking for a probiotic supplement, make sure it has billions per serving. If it says millions, that's not enough. We need billions. So like, for example, mine, I think the ones you take too, those have 14 billion per serving. Well, I'm taking 2 servings of that, so I'm getting 28 billion per day. 14 in the morning, 14 at night. So very, very important to improve the bacterial environment within your stomach. It's going to help you feel better. And it's a trickling effect. People that have healthy, flourishing bacteria have better libidos, better energy, better strength, better skin, and a better attitude.
I was wondering why my skin was so soft.
I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Didn't know if you were like putting lotion on, like Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the
It
Lambs.
puts the lotion on its skin. Oh, God. Well, on that note, that guy had a bad attitude. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We really, really appreciate it. We're so grateful for all of you, and we appreciate all the people who come in live. Like, that's awesome. We love you guys so much. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and we'll check you out on the next episode.
See ya.